welcome to Nerds Garage. I'm Suzanne.
I'm Dylan.
And I think it's very fair to say that we are fans of science fiction.
Oh, yes, we are.
And we don't have a lot of science fiction games.
No.
And when we had the opportunity to play test this game, we were like, oh, heck yeah. And we are talking today about Xenohunters, which is a science fiction, horror, double-blind, alien hunting board game. Yeah, all that.
That's a lot.
Yeah, and it's fun.
It's amazing.
And it kickstarts April 7th. It is designed by Jack Ford Morgan and it is published by Half Monster Games. And it is 2 to 4 players, 30 to 60 minutes, depending on how many people are playing and what mission you're on. All right, Dylan. What century are we in?
We're in the 35th century and humanity has colonized the galaxy.
Yay.
People are living in station habitats all across the galaxy.
Excellent.
Except it's not.
Oh no, what?
In the farthest reaches of the galaxy, some of these habitats are going dark.
That's bad.
Very.
I know that's bad.
Well, the human military is sent out many ships to try and figure out what's going on, but turns out they all went missing too.
Oh dear, what's next?
A small group of elite mercenaries to go out and hunt aliens that are eating all the people out there.
It's the Xenos.
The Xenos.
In this game, there are 4 missions and 4 female characters, which is cool.
Awesome.
That are hunting the Xenos alien who's vying to gobble up all that's left of humanity. And she has spawned eggs and hybrid spawn on these ships. And there was one last distress call that said, garble, garble. Oh, help. Oh, what's that? Xenos is here. So the players are the 4 hunters that are going to the ship to kill Xenos and her spawn and save humanity.
Now, there's only one way to get rid of these things.
And how is that?
Good old-fashioned fire. So, there's 4 different missions, and each one has its own variety of setup, but they all have the same parts. You have how many eggs are on a ship, how many equipment cards each Xenohunter gets, and you have the victory options. There's usually 3 tiers of victory options.
And what are those tiers?
Always starts with killing all the aliens.
Yes.
That's bronze.
Yes.
Silver changes from mission to mission. And gold is always escaping with everyone alive and destroying the Xenos.
And we found that on our missions, there's just so much going on, and it kind of mimics cinema that tension builds, and here we are at the end. You've blown up the reactor, and everybody's running. All jump scare is the Xeno and a bunch of spawn, and then you have to decide. Do we leave some hunters behind?
Mm-hmm.
Casualties need to happen to be able to get away, to get some victory points.
Mm-hmm.
Which is what we did.
Yes.
Nobody's left completely alive.
Now, what makes this game incredibly difficult and so much fun, my favorite part is the Xenos can win if just one Xeno survives and makes it onto the escape ship.
Oh, did we say that? That a player gets to be the alien?
Oh, yeah. Every single person in here is a player.
So you either choose to be the Xenos, the alien, on the hunt, or the hunter, the Xenohunters.
Yeah.
And I waited many rounds before I was ready to play the alien, and it was so completely different gameplay.
It is amazing. Practically a different game and very difficult.
Yeah, but I won.
Yes.
All right, so let's talk about turns. You had said that the hunters get equipment at the
Yes,
beginning of the
at
game?
the beginning of the game, the hunters are given equipment cards for their class, basically. So each character board tells you exactly what you can do. It has your health, your movement, how much you can carry, and all of your actions. Now that's important because on each turn, the human characters, Xenohunters, can take 2 of any actions. You can sprint, which is loud. We'll get to that in a bit. And it doubles your movement. Sneak, which means you're hidden from the enemy, Xeno. And you only move your basic movement. You have use item. You can use a card you've gotten or started with. You have rummage, which is how characters get more items by rummaging through the ship to get equipment. The melee strike, which is just a one hit, punch them in the face. And finally a shove, which moves an enemy or friend 1 space away. Now the Xeno and the hybrids have similar actions. The hybrids can take 2 actions at any point. Difference being they have a spawn action, which is they hatch out of the alien eggs, and they have bite attacks. Now, the alien itself has a lot of actions it can do. It has 3 it can take on a turn. It has the most health. It's the fastest. It can get across the map so easily.
Yeah.
It can lay eggs. Even if you kill it, it can hatch out of an egg. So killing the big bad doesn't mean victory unless you've gotten rid of all the eggs.
All right, so yeah, I didn't know that when I played Xenos, and then I saw that you guys were trying to trap me into hatching more of my spawn, so I'd have less eggs. Then Xenos could not rehatch, correct?
Correct.
All right, so in the beginning of the game, what does the alien get? She gets
3
according to the mission. So if we're
3 hybrid and usually 1 egg just to start off with.
so that's on the board.
Yes.
So let's talk about the hidden movement cards.
Yes.
I think that is the bomb.
Every single map is set up like a grid, and every player is given a black grid card and a small chip you can put on it.
So the map, you're meaning the board,
The board.
that the mission is
Yes.
on. Yes.
So, your movement when you're hidden or sneaking, you just move your chip around the small board to the corresponding spot. So say you are at D14 and you want to move into another room, you can go to E11 and no one will know.
So most of the games we started, a mechanic that worked for us was that the hunters would start in sneak mode, so they would take their tokens off the table, which was kind of cool. And of course, the alien, the Xenos, was always hidden at the beginning of the game.
Yes.
The hidden movement, I think, is very clever and slick and fun when you're the hunter, but you also have this fear because Xenos can move a lot farther and faster, and she can hide as well.
Yes, a strategy the hunters took a lot when we were playing is when you start the game, they all hid. Because at the very beginning, the Xeno is always hidden, so it was just smarter for everyone to get off the board. However, the Xeno has a special ability called Sense, where
I like that one, yeah.
the Xeno player can sense one of the hunters and they must say their exact location unless they have a special card.
Equipment card, yeah.
There's one that is just a complete negation of sense. And then there's another one, the blood bag, which basically if you use that, you leave a trail of blood around so it's harder to sense you. And you can give 3 locations and only 1 has to be correct.
And I found that when mechanics that worked for us was in the beginning, we all spread out and in silent or hidden sneaky mode and collected equipment because that's what's on the ship. They left us this ship full of equipment for us to be able to take care of Xenos, her spawn, and her eggs. But we have to find it, and it's spread out all over the ship.
in these little colored caches. Now, each Xenohunter has a corresponding color. Now, everyone can use every equipment, but when you're hidden, only, the medic knows how to rummage through medical equipment very quietly. The big, bulky, armored engineer might not be that good around medical equipment, so you have to roll to stay hidden if you're rummaging in a different color than your own.
And what are the rolls to stay silent?
You need a 2 or more to stay silent.
And if not...
You put your character on the board.
The alien knows where you are. And every time we rolled that, I was like, oh!
Yeah, we always
darn!
failed that. Now, what are we looking for exactly?
Oh, we're looking for the bomb and a detonator or something that we could do to attack. We have to destroy the reactor. And then get off the ship.
Yes. So, unless you're really lucky and start with one of the 2 necessary cards being a detonator.
Happened once. Your first time as an alien. That was cool.
Or a bomb. You have to go rummaging through orange engineering spots to find it. Or you can do it the risky way and go through the red soldier ones just to get a grenade. Now, the difference is grenade is instant. The other one, you have time to get away and then activate it.
All right, so grenade, you throw it in. It blows up what's in the room. There's doors all over the ship. But the bomb, when you ignite the reactor, it starts spreading each turn.
A chain reaction of explosions that go one room out each turn till the entire ship is destroyed.
And you have to book it. This is where the casualties happen. Usually,
Yeah.
whoever sets the bomb in the reactor is left behind. It's like, go ahead and leave without me. Oh, that's the thing.
Yeah.
The hunters can talk to each other, but you have to be careful because obviously the alien can hear you because they're sitting right there. And I think after a couple games that we figured out, I mean, when I was finally the alien, you guys were talking some sort of code. And we kind of used, we're big on D&D. We play it 3 times a week. We kind of put that into it. So we did the whole role RPG.
Yeah, we role played it.
And we also did, and this is part of the rules, you can hold an action. So every hunter gets 2 actions, but if I have an action, I can do one like, say, place a bomb or a flamethrower in the vents because they can live in the vents. I can hold my next action and go to you.
Until someone else finishes theirs, then you can do your last action.
And usually that's, sprint to get the heck out of there. It's like, run, it's going. And every time the alien goes, the
that's when the explosion goes
expands,
out.
And there's not much.
Like when we talked about earlier, the expanding explosion that happens at the end of the alien's turn. The explosion will go out 1 room further.
It's funny, after completing first of the few games we played, we found ourselves still talking about it and what we could have done better and what we do in the next mission.
So many strategies.
And we found it kind of binge-worthy.
Yes.
And the second time we brought it to the table, once we completed, we're like, you want to play again? And we played again. And played again. And
the levels just get harder and harder and more complicated. And each one just requires more strategy than the one before it.
And it's not like you play the 4 missions and you're done because you can play the...
You can play the Xeno, or you can play different heroes. Because honestly, each of the 4 heroes plays differently.
Oh, that's the thing. They have very different levels. They have different aim capability, health. What else do they have?
Speed and carry weight.
Yeah. Carry weight is how many...
cards you can have.
Yeah. Speaking of the cards, I thought they were very, very well thought out.
So useful. Wonderful equipment cards that can range from a teleporter, which is a loud action. So if you're in sneak, it takes you out of sneak, but it can take you anywhere on the ship. Now that is a green card, which goes under the science. Then you have the orange, which is engineering. Now that is where your detonator and explosives are, but also a really useful item is the door seal. You can put that down, and that makes it almost impossible to get through the door because you have to break the seal. Then you have your red, which is your military gear, guns, plasma shotguns, grenades, exosuits, stuff to make you harder to kill.
What's your character? It's
Warlord.
Warlord. Yeah, her aim is great. She's the only one with good aim, and she pretty much has to plow the way to get rid of the spawn and the aliens and the eggs, because everybody else, it's you roll the dice, and they're at 4 or 5, and that's
She's
kinda
trained
hard.
to fight. The others
Yeah.
have very different skills. Like blue and green, the medic and the scientist are the support characters.
Caduceus and Armature.
Yes. The medic can get stuff to make you harder to sense. They're like the blood bag. She also can get a very useful item that will just heal any damage you take.
That's a good one. And also, when somebody dies, what's
The scientist can get something called a Lazarus gun veil,
Oh, it's awesome.
which you can use a Xeno egg to bring back a dead character.
All right, so when a hunter dies, it's very sad. They come back as a spawn that kind of looks like them. It's very creepy. And there's, depending on the mission, there's multiple of those, and the hunters can run into them, and then you're down to, like, we played sometimes 2 characters each. You're down to 1 character. But if you have the Lazarus,
You can just bring them back at any egg.
that's so great.
So
I like that.
you have your attack character, the Captain Warlord. You have Caduceus and Armature, your support and healers. And finally, you have Ironclad, who is the engineer. She has the most health, the slowest speed, and the most carry capacity. She's good for getting the bombs, sealing rooms, and tanking damage.
All right. Throughout our play testing, we found that it is very leveled. There's nobody overpowered. That's the difference with the hunters. Everybody, you have to work together. It's not a co-op, but it's best to work together because it's hard to overpower the alien because she's fast. She really is.
Yes. The alien has more health than you, more speed than you, and more damage, and more helpers. So you have to work together to outsmart the other player, or you have to work together to overpower the other player.
It's so funny, in the first, 3 or 4 games that we were just the hunters, we had no idea the health of the alien, and Dad wouldn't tell us.
And then when we thought we killed it, it just came right back.
Yeah. That was a clever addition, that it can respawn, which is kind of like a video game, right? You're the video game guy. So, Dad and I, when we first started getting back into this hobby, we started talking about games that we played that kind of sparked why we were so in love with tabletop. And Dad's game was, it had to do with, and this is back in the, late 70s, aliens and crew members. And
What game was it?
Awful Green Things from Outer Space. And it's actually back in print, and we got it and we played it, and it was fun. And, I never beat him. He was always the aliens, and he always won, but it was so much fun. But we thought that, it's cool, but we need a little more intrigue, a little more depth, a little more strategy, and it's funny.
It takes the best bits of hardcore tabletop gaming and also the roleplay gaming from tabletop. Your D&Ds, your Pathfinders, your Call of Cthulhu's, and mixes it with...
This game?
Yes, this game.
So when Dad played this game, it was like what he always wanted. He wanted that game from his childhood that was kicked up a notch, and this was it. And I could
Yes.
see it in his eyes how happy he was to play this game.
It's not just a heavy board game. It's a great role-play game as well.
And I really liked that all the different boards that came with it. They were very clever, and each mission was very different. And
The level design was amazing in increasing the complexity. As I've said before, the last level was near impossible.
they've obviously put a lot of thought into this game. And I'm really hoping that, success on Kickstarter, and we can see, because what we have is prototype art. I'd love to see the finished game, and I'd like to get like the next 5 missions.
I know. I want more missions. I want more equipment. I love it.
This game is steeped in strategy, treachery, and consequences because Xenos is always hiding around the corner.
The Xeno's out there.
We really have been binging this game a lot. It hasn't left the table since it got here, and honestly, we are giving a review about how imagination can really triumph, and this game really does.
It does. It certainly does.
Xenohunters is going to Kickstarter on April 7th. The designer is Jack Ford Morgan. Half Monster Games. 2 to 4 players. 30 to 90 minutes. Feels like 10.
It feels
so
it's
fast.
amazing.
Below we will link to their Kickstarter. They are from Australia. They're from down under. And I really think this one...
It's amazing. It's my favorite game they've made.
Oh, and we listened to a soundtrack. The soundtrack we listened to in the background was Alien Isolation.
What a great game as well.
Really kicked up the tension. All right, Xenohunters by Half Monster Games on Kickstarter April 7th. And it is a whole lot of game. And Nerds Garage
Loves it.
Yeah.
I cannot wait for more levels.
More missions. Send us more missions.
Yes. Thank you.
All right. I'm Suzanne.
I'm Dylan.
And we'll see you next time.
Bye.